My wife went abroad with her lover. 3 years later, she came back with a child. 3 years ago, I saw my wife kissing a stranger inside a luxury car. When I got home, ready to ask who he was, she suddenly disappeared. So I gathered the paperwork and filed for divorce. 3 years later, she showed up in front of me with her lover, holding a child. When someone knocked on the door, I was checking the last set of data on my laptop. I ignored it. It was the third time this month. My upstairs neighbor always knocked on the wrong door when he got drunk. But this time the knocking didn't stop, it only got louder. Bang, 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 it sounded urgent. Frowning, I got up and walked to the peephole. Then my breath stopped. 3 people stood outside. Liu Ruyan, my wife who'd vanished for 3 whole years. Next to her was a man in gold-rimmed glasses and a casual suit, his hand resting naturally on her waist. And in Liu Ruyan's arms was a little boy, about 2 years old, with his face buried in her neck. My fingers froze on the doorknob for 3 seconds. I opened the door. The hallway light cast a pale glow, clearly lighting up everyone's face. Qinfang. Liu Ruyan spoke first. Her voice shook, but she forced her chin up. We're back. I said nothing. My eyes moved from her face to the man's, then to the back of the child's fuzzy little head. You're not inviting us in? The man smiled, showing a perfect set of teeth. It's pretty cold out here. I finally found my voice. Who are you people? Liu Ruyan's expression stiffened. Qinfang, don't be like this. This is Qufeng, and this is Xiaobao, our son. Our? I repeated the word. Whose son? Qinfang. Liu Ruyan's voice went sharp. Do you have to talk like that? It's been 3 years, I'm back. I came back to you with the child, and this is how you treat me? I looked at her face, one I once knew by heart, but now she felt like a stranger on a Subway ad. She'd curled her hair and put on bright red lipstick. She was wearing the latest outfit from some luxury brand, something I'd never bought her. Come back to me, I heard myself laugh, my voice ice cold. Liu Ruyan, when you vanished without a word 3 years ago, did you ever think I'd look for you? I had my reasons back then. Her eyes turned red. Qinfang, can we go inside and talk? Don't let the child stand out in the cold. Reasons? I slowly rolled that word around in my mouth. I stepped aside. Come in. They filed in one after another. Qufeng casually scanned the living room like he was sizing something up. Liu Ruyan sat on the couch with the child, gently patting his back like she'd done it 1,000 times. I shut the door and stayed by the cabinet in the entryway. Talk. I looked at Liu Ruyan. What reason made you run off with... I glanced at Qufeng. This gentleman for 3 years and have a child?
And now you're suddenly back for me, but it wasn't running away together?
Liu Ruyan jumped to her feet. Qinfang, Qufeng and I met overseas. We really loved each other. But I know I was wrong. I want to come back. I want to start over with you. Qufeng cut in then, his voice calm like he was negotiating a deal. Mr. Qin, Yanyan was indeed wrong about what happened before. But she's always had you in her heart. She came back this time because she wants to give the child a complete family. Don't worry, I won't interfere as long as the two of you live happily together. I looked at him, then at Liu Ruyan. So, I said slowly, you went abroad with her for 3 years, had a child, and now that you're done having fun, you want me to raise him? Liu Ruyan's face turned pale. How can you say something so awful? Xiaobao needs a father. He has a father. I pointed at Qufeng. Isn't that him? Qinfang! Liu Ruyan screamed. What do you want from me? I swallowed my pride and came back. Isn't that enough? Can't you be the bigger person and accept me and my son? The child in her arms got scared and started crying. Qufeng frowned and pulled his car keys from his pocket. I'll go get something from the car. With that, he opened the door and left. The door wasn't fully closed. The hallway light came back on, sending a beam inside. I watched Liu Ruyan standing in the middle of my living room with a crying child, demanding that I accept all of this like she was entitled to it. That morning 3 years ago, I woke up and found that all her things were gone. The closet was empty. Her toothbrush was gone. Even the plants she'd raised were taken away. No note, no phone call. She blocked me on WeChat, and her phone was disconnected. I called the police, posted missing person notices, and searched everywhere she might have gone. A month later, one of her old friends told me someone had seen her at the airport with a man driving a luxury car. Another month later, I filed for divorce. 6 months later, the ruling came down. Since the defendant had disappeared without cause beyond the legal time limit, the divorce was granted. I don't even remember how I made it through those days. All I remember are countless sleepless nights and the hair left on my pillow when I woke up. Now she was back, carrying another man's child with one casual line. I'm back, Liu Ruyan. I spoke, my voice so calm it sounded unfamiliar even to me. We're divorced. She froze. What? I said, I repeated slowly. We're already divorced. I went back to my study, took the document from the safe, returned to the living room and tossed it onto the coffee table, black and white with the court's official seal. Liu Ruyan stared hard at the divorce ruling, like she couldn't understand the words on the page. Her hands were shaking, and the child in her arms cried even louder. Impossible, she muttered. How could you divorce me on your own? You disappeared. The law allowed me to do it. I didn't disappear. I just went away to clear my head. I laughed. For 3 years? Right into another man's bed and came back with a child? Qinfang, you bastard! She completely snapped, dropped the child onto the couch, and lunged at me, trying to claw my face. I grabbed her wrist. It was so thin. She'd lost a lot of weight. Are you done? I stared at her. Take your child and your lover and get out of my house. I'm not leaving, she screamed. This is my home. I worked so hard to make this home. What gives you the right to throw me out? Her screams echoed through the hallway. The door across the hall opened, then the one next door. Several neighbors poked their heads out, watching curiously. Chu Feng returned then, carrying a can of baby formula. The second he saw the scene, he rushed forward. Yanyan, calm down. He's throwing us out, Liu Ruyan cried. He says we're divorced. Chu Feng, he doesn't want me anymore. Chu Feng looked at me with blame in his eyes. Mr. Qin, let's talk this out. Yanyan is a woman after all, and she has a child. Acting like this. Acting like what? I cut him off. You're the ones trespassing in someone else's home. Do I need to call the police right now? Call the police! A shrill woman's voice came from outside. Liu Ruyan's mother shoved past the watching neighbors and stormed in, with her father behind her. The two of them were dressed nicely, but their faces were dark with anger. Qin Fang, you heartless bastard. The moment Mrs. Liu walked in, she pointed straight at my face and started yelling. My daughter went through hell to give you a child, and you're throwing her out? Are you even human? Mr. Liu glared at me too. 3 years apart, and the first thing you do is threaten to call the police. Qin Fang, our Liu family has treated you well. I looked at this entire family like I was watching some absurd play. The child isn't mine, I said. That's bullshit, Mrs. Liu spat. If he isn't yours, whose is he? My daughter stayed faithful to you all these years, and the moment she comes back, you slander her? You heartless, ungrateful bastard. The more she yelled, the more worked up she got. Then she rushed at me and slapped me across the face. Smack! The slap was loud and sharp. My head snapped to the side and my cheek burned. The neighbors gasped. I took out my phone, opened the dial pad, and pressed 3 numbers, 110. Hello, police? My voice was steady, almost eerily calm. I need to report a crime. Someone broke into my home and assaulted me. The address is... I gave them the neighborhood name and apartment number. Yes, I'm the victim. I was struck in the forehead with a metal blunt object and I'm bleeding. The attacker is still here. Please send officers immediately. After ending the call, I put my phone back in my pocket. The blood was still flowing. I walked over to the coffee table, grabbed a few tissues, and pressed them against the wound. Then I sat down and stared at them. Sit. Nobody leaves until the police get here. Mrs. Liu was the first to react. She screamed. You really called the police? Qin Fang, we're your in-laws! I corrected her. Former in-laws. And even if you were still my in-laws, assault is still a crime. The metal kettle slipped from Mr. Liu's hand and clattered onto the floor. His lips trembled. I didn't mean to, I just lost my temper for a second. Tell that to the police, I said, staring at them. And while you're at it, explain whether your daughter disappearing for 3 years, then coming back with a child and forcing me to claim him counts as extortion. Liu Ruyan collapsed onto the floor, finally realizing things had gone wrong. She looked at the blood still seeping from my forehead, at my cold eyes, then at the bright red stain on the floor. Qin Fang. Her voice shook. Don't do this, I was wrong, I really was wrong. Can we just talk this through? Please go to the hospital first. No rush, I'll go after the police arrive and take my statement. Chu Feng tried to slip away then, quietly edging toward the door. Mr. Chu, I said without turning around, don't leave either. You're an accomplice. He froze. The sound of sirens drew closer, and soon hurried footsteps came down the hallway. 2 police officers appeared at the door. When they saw the scene inside, their expressions turned serious. Who called the police? I stood up. The tissue against my forehead was already soaked in blood. They trespassed. This woman slapped me across the face. And this man used that... I pointed at the metal kettle on the floor. To hit me in the head. The officers looked at the blood on my face, then at the weapon on the floor, frowning deeply. All of you are coming to the station with us, the younger officer said. You get your wound treated first, then come in to give your statement. Mrs. Liu started wailing. Officer, this is a misunderstanding. This is a family issue. He's my son-in-law. Did you cause the injury on his face? I only gave him a light tap. Then what about this? The officer asked, pointing at the kettle. Mr. Liu lowered his head and didn't dare say a word. Take them all in, the older officer ordered. The moment the handcuffs came out, Mrs. Liu completely lost it. I'm not going to the station. Qin Fang, you'll die a horrible death. You'd even turn in your elders. She kept cursing as the officers dragged her outside. Mr. Liu was handcuffed too, his face completely gray. Chu Feng tried to explain himself, but the police weren't listening. You can explain everything at the station. They were taken away, while the neighbors kept watching and whispering. Holding my forehead, I prepared to go to the hospital with the police. As I passed the doorway, I saw Liu Ruyan still collapsed on the floor, holding the child who was too terrified to even cry anymore. She lifted her head and looked at me. The blood from my forehead had already run down to the corner of my eye. Everything looked red, but I could still see her eyes clearly. There was fear, regret, despair, and the panic of finally realizing she'd lost everything. I looked at her for 3 final seconds, then turned and followed the police into the elevator. Before the doors closed, I heard her finally break down into heart-wrenching sobs. But none of that had anything to do with me anymore. From the moment she chose to disappear 3 years ago, she had nothing to do with me anymore. Now I was simply making real life as final as the law had already made it. As the elevator descended, I looked at my blurry reflection in the metal doors. Blood-stained tissues wrapped around my forehead, my eyes cold as ice. Liu Ruyan, you came back too late. The Qinfang who would have worried about you, cared for you, and waited 3 years for you was already dead. He died 3 years ago on the morning you left. The fluorescent lights in the police station's mediation room were painfully bright. I sat in a plastic chair. The wound on my forehead had been temporarily bandaged, and a little dark red blood still seeped through the gauze. Liu Ruyan's parents sat across from me, their eyes red and swollen. Mrs. Liu was still sobbing. Mr. Qin, how about we try mediation? The officer flipped through his notes, keeping his tone as gentle as possible. Mr. and Mrs. Liu have admitted to using force, and they say they deeply regret it. Look, this is ultimately a family dispute, and your injuries aren't particularly serious. Minor injuries, I cut him off. That's enough for administrative detention. Mrs. Liu's crying grew louder. We're willing to compensate him. Mr. Liu quickly spoke up. We'll pay the medical bills and his lost wages. Qinfeng, we're still family after all. We're not family, we haven't been for 3 years. That divorce doesn't count, Mrs. Liu screamed. My daughter never agreed to it. The officer frowned. Ma'am, a court-ordered divorce is legally valid. I don't care! Mrs. Liu turned toward me. Qinfeng, do you really have to send 2 old people to jail today? How can you be so cruel? I didn't even look at her. I spoke directly to the officer. I refuse mediation. Detain them if they should be detained. Fine them if they should be fined. And I'll be formally suing them for intentional injury. The officer looked at me, probably not used to seeing a victim this determined. Mr. Qin, are you sure? Once the process starts, there will be no turning back. There was no turning back 3 years ago. I stood up. Are we done with the statement? I need to go to the hospital. We're done. The officer closed his notebook. Mr. and Mrs. Liu, under the Public Security Administration Punishments Law, you are suspected of intentionally injuring another person. You will each receive 10 days of administrative detention. Come with us to complete the paperwork. Mrs. Liu completely collapsed, crying as a female officer helped her up. Mr. Liu kept his head down and didn't say another word. After signing my statement, I turned and walked out of the mediation room. In the hallway outside, Liu Ruyan was waiting with the child in her arms. The moment she saw me come out, she rushed over.